What's up, everyone? How's it going, guys? Thank you for joining me today on a topic that is near and dear to me. I like talking about multifamily, but specifically this topic, right? And if you guys don't know the topic, it's my LOI was accepted. Now what? And I love talking about this because we had a conversation not too long ago, Joseph and I, and we were kind of analyzing our business again, right? Because it seems to always change and evolve, and our goals obviously get bigger as we go, and things just happen. And we were kind of analyzing our roles as when we're doing deals now, and some of the things that we're transitioning into right now. And he mentioned, "Hey, I see you as a head of due diligence and closing for any deal that we do. Like you're coordinating everything." You know what? He had me thinking that day too. I was like, wow. Because I was reflecting on the same thing as well. I was like, you know what? People have been giving me good feedback on the coordination of the due diligence period and, things that need to get done when we have a deal under contract. And so when he said that, I didn't really think about it till like he actually said that. And I was like, wow, he's got a point. And so it's kind of like a weird thing that some of the roles that we're doing, we're kind of transitioning into, but it really plays off of the strengths that we have in as a team, right? Like we can definitely see some transitioning happening soon where we had like a head of asset management, a head of acquisitions, a head of relations, and a head of like, you know, due diligence and things like that. So it's been a crazy journey, guys. And so I'm really excited to be here today and talk to you guys. And I see some of you guys in the chat, some of the VIPs. Rob is in the house from Minnesota. What's up, Rob? And I also see Max in the house. What's going on, guys? This is sort of a Q&A, kind of. It's more or less like instructional on what you should do. But if you have questions on the side, I will answer, do my best to answer every single question that I can within the 30 to 45 minutes that we have with each other here, you guys. Yep, Max is an underwriter. He is amazing. And so again, the topic, guys, is my LOI was accepted. Now what? And this is a good thing to like, because I had done a video not too long ago about like due diligence and what you should do. And so there's a period when you get a property, when you're looking at a property and you submit an LOI. And if your LOI gets accepted, then there's like this little gap in between when you submitted your LOI and when you actually put it under contract. That's like the limbo stage. That's what I like to call it. It's like the limbo stage because you're not technically under contract, but your LOI was accepted. Let me read some of these comments. I'm taking a break from ice fishing. I'm glad you're here on your break, man. What's up, Chris? Another one of the VIPs. Cecilia, another VIP. I'm going to butcher your name. Lina, how's it going? Steven Steele in the house. And Real Estate Said. What's going on, guys? Thank you for tuning in today. I know it's a Tuesday. Some of you guys may be working. Some of you guys may be doing other things. I'm happy that you guys are here. Hopefully this will bring some value to you guys because this is something that helped us when we finally got an LOI accepted and we didn't know what the heck we were doing. So we were scrambling to find out what we needed to do. And so hopefully this will help you guys whenever you get an actual deal under contract or you get your LOI accepted, you know what to do. And so I was explaining earlier. Oh, Lena, I'm so sorry, Lena. You have corrected me. Thank you. So I was explaining that whenever you have a property and you submit an LOI and say that LOI gets accepted, then what do you do, right? What's the next step? And there's a bunch of different things that'll happen in there. And again, I did a video on due diligence on what happens when you actually have the property under contract. And a lot of it will relate to this video because you should either have done a lot of the pre-due diligence before, or this is the limbo stage that I was telling you where you actually need to get it done now because your LOI is accepted. The next step after that would be to put the property under contract, right? So with that, you have this period of time that you can still go and do your due diligence without actually being under contract. And that's the best part, is this is where you can dive deep into finding out some of the things that you're going to need for this property. So when you submit an LOI, it gets accepted. What happens after that? Depending on what type of deal and how you structure it, I would recommend that you get an attorney to help you with the PSA, the purchase and sell agreement, because it's going to be a long contract for the most part. A lot of them are pretty lengthy, and you're talking about multi-million dollar properties. So you want to make sure that you are protected. Just disclaimer, guys, we are not attorneys, we're not CPAs or financial advisors. So I would definitely recommend that you consult with any attorney. What I'm going to share with you guys is based on our experience. And so if you guys have anything particular that you're working on, you definitely want to consult your attorney before you do so. But the way it would work for some of the things that we've done is, you got your LOI accepted. Now it's time for the purchase and sell agreement negotiations. I would go ahead and start engaging an attorney if you have not already. And I would engage an attorney just for the transaction or the purchase and sell agreement by itself. Go and find an attorney that's going to help you with structuring the purchase and sell agreement, because it's going to be a long contract for the most part. And if you're not good at contracts, and neither would I recommend you do your own contracts. Obviously, you have to know what it says, and to some knowledge, know exactly what you're reading, but that's why you pay the attorney for. So get the attorney, make sure it looks good, and anything and everything that you want to negotiate starts happening right then and there, and it gets written down on paper. So if you guys had agreed on the LOI for a 45-day due diligence period and like a 45-day closing or whatever you had agreed upon, then all that gets penciled in into the PSA and much more, right? You're going to also want to pencil in what your what the EMD looks like. And, if you had mentioned it's non-refundable or if it's refundable, all that gets stated in the contract. You're going to want to mention if the deal is a loan assumption, then that gets put in the contract. If it's just a straight up, you're responsible to go get new debt, all that's in the contract. So there's a bunch of different things that you guys need to make sure that that's on the contract, and the attorney will help you with all this. So you don't have to figure it out on your own. That's why you get an attorney. Okay. So in while that negotiation is happening, because it will go back and forth here and there, at least in my experience it has, unless you just know exactly what it is and everything works out. Typically it's a negotiation process, could take a week, could take months. We negotiated a deal where we were going through the PSA negotiations, and it took close to 2.5 months before we actually finally agreed upon the terms that we wanted to and put that thing under contract. So the negotiations could take longer than that. It could be shorter. But during those 2 months that we were negotiating the contract, we were able to get a lot of the due diligence done without us actually being on the clock. And that was the best part. What's up, Jose? Glad you made it here, brother. And so that was the best part. We had about 2 months to go and seek out and engage some of these conversations that we needed to take care of. For example, ideally, before you submit your LOI, you have already done your initial walkthrough. But if you have not and you got your LOIs accepted, then that would be the ideal time to go and walk your property for the initial property walkthrough. Okay, you're not going to get to see everything, but that would be a good time. Ideally, I would say walk it before you submit the LOI. And if you submit the LOI and you get that accepted, then immediately after, go and walk that property. Again, it's going to be the initial property, but Joseph has done a great video on what to say, what to ask for on a property walkthrough, and it is on our YouTube channel, so you should check that out. Because if you're in that position where you're going to submit an LOI and it sounds and it looks promising, then go and watch that video, because it's going to help you when you walk your property on what you should ask for and what you should look for. But ideally, you've already walked your property, you've done your initial property. Obviously, you're talking to the brokers, you're coordinating with them. And during this stage that I call the limbo stage, right? Oh, wait, I got to shout out Natalie. What's up, Natalie? During the initial limbo stage, what I like to call that period in between the LOI and the PSA, I would say go and engage. Obviously, your attorney. The number one is you should already engage an attorney at this point. And the second one that is crucial is the property management company. Go and engage property management companies. And not just one, not just two, engage as many as you need to. I would recommend anywhere from 3 to 5 minimum, or until you find the one that you know is the one for this particular property, right? If it's a Class C asset, then you want a property management company who knows how to handle a Class C asset and the type of clientele. And if it's a value add, which most of them are, how to handle the value add portion of it as well, right? And again, we did a video on what questions that you should ask for and what you should do on how to interview property management companies. So that's another thing, is make sure that you vet them very well. Again, if it's a Class B, make sure that they know how to do Class B, or if it's a Class A, make sure that they know how to handle a Class A property. So that would be the key thing that you need to start doing, is go and contact property management companies and find out everything too. The most important thing, aside from the questions that you need to ask for, is what type of fee structure they have, right? Because you want to make sure that whatever fee structure they give you, that it's going to be supported by your underwriting. Your underwriting is going to adjust every step of the way during this process. This is where you're going to actually sharpen your pencil and start putting in some of these real numbers that you need to put into the underwriting. So you make sure that this thing is going to check out. Because remember, the next step would be actually putting it under contract. So you have time to go and figure some of this stuff out. Figure out what the actual cost will be to have a property management company and what all it entails, right? Is it going to be just the management fee, or is it going to be a management fee plus a payroll? Is it going to be a bunch of other stuff? You need to find that out and start penciling in everything in the underwriting. So property management is key during this time. It would be the best and ideal. Hopefully you've done some of it beforehand, but this is the time to do it. Like, get to it, right? The other thing that you want to keep in mind is that you want to line up the third party inspections. And what I mean by that is, you're going to want to do an appraisal on the property. You're going to want to do a survey, a property condition report, and a phase one environmental. All these reports that you're going to want to do, guys, you have to make sure that you have these people lined up, because some appraisals, some surveyors, and some of these other reports that you need to order can take some time. And so you want to be lining these people up. So whenever you do put this thing under contract, let's say you put it under contract, you're there day one, day two, already coordinating all these types of different things that need to happen on this property. So having those people, those vendors, right then and there ready to go is going to save you so much time, and you're just going to be ahead of the game. It's going to help you out so much, because then those reports do take a little bit to turn over. I mean, some of them take a week, some of them can take 2 weeks, some can take 3 weeks, right? And if you have like a 30-day due diligence period and you're waiting on a report, and it's going to be like a 2-3 week turnaround, that's a lot of your due diligence time already eaten up just waiting on that report, right? So you want to be proactive in engaging all those vendors ahead of time. Natalie, the reports for the third party inspections are going to be your appraisal, a survey, property condition report, and a phase one environmental. So there's 4 reports there. And the phase one is like 2 in 1. But in a lot of this stuff, Natalie, if you're going with a lender, I can just transition into this right now, so it'll help you out even more. But if there's going to be a lender involved, whether you're assuming a loan or you're getting new debt on the property, the lenders will require for you to get these reports anyway. So the lender, I'll just transition into this. The lender is another person that you need to be engaging during this time as well, because things are getting real. If you're going to be doing a loan assumption, you're engaging them right now and asking them, what are the requirements going to be? What do I need in order for this thing to get going? Because I want to be as proactive as possible in order for me to get this stuff done, so we're not having to do it last minute, or having to extend the time period for whatever reason because you're not on top of it. So the lender is one of the things that you'll have to engage to get this thing going ASAP. And a lot of the times, again, Natalie, the lender will require some of these reports. So you still want to go ahead and figure out what the lender is going to require, right? What they might say, yeah, we need a survey, we need an appraisal, or they may say, we just need an appraisal, we don't need a survey, because we have a survey that's existing that could work for us. Those are conversations that you're going to have with the lender to find out what exact reports you need. And also, if they don't require some of these reports, it may still be good for you, Natalie, to go and get them anyway, because this is other things that you can have whenever you go and talk to your investors and say, look, we've done an appraisal. We know what it appraises for right now. Or we did a survey and here, nothing changed. Everything's the same. Or, hey, we did a property condition report. We have a breakdown of the entire property and we know exactly what's wrong with this property or what's not wrong with this property. So those are some things that you definitely want to go ahead and start doing, is lining up those people. And sometimes, Natalie, one other thing on the reports, the lenders may have a preferred vendor list that they want to use. They want to use certain vendors sometimes. And that's something that I would ask too on the lender, like, hey, I'm getting ready to order some of these reports. What reports do you guys require? And do you have preferred vendors that you would like to use that I can contact or we can coordinate together in order to get these reports? So keep that in mind, because some lenders may not accept a certain type of report because it's not by their preferred lender. Love it, Jose. He says this is not a single family, multiple units, a team going down, a team going to do this. Inspections usually not just one person. It takes time. Yeah, definitely. It takes time for sure. Definitely takes time. It's a different ball game, but it's really cool to see everything just, everything meshing together piece by piece. It's really cool. And then aside from that, on the reports, asking your lender what they require, you also need to be talking to a title company. Whether it's, I would recommend that you guys, in your LOI, if you're not already doing so, again, I'm not an attorney, I'm not a CPA, financial advisor, but if you're submitting something in your LOI, I would say that buyer gets to pick title company. You want to be able to pick the title company in every scenario that you can. There are occasions where maybe the seller will pick it just because of the negotiations, but you definitely want to stick to a title company that you know is reputable, or if you don't know, someone who referred you to that title company that that is efficient. Because that's another thing that you need to stay on top of, is a title company. If you have not engaged one, now is the time to do it. If your LOI was accepted, now you got to go find a title company, or depending on what state you're in, a closing attorney. So make sure that you have that lined up, and that goes hand in hand with the reports, because the title company, even though the lender may not require that specific report, like say they don't require a survey or they don't require an appraisal, the title company may come back and say, hey, we actually do require an appraisal or a survey. So now you have to go get that done regardless. So also being and staying on top of the coordination with the title company is going to help you out tremendously. So when, obviously you won't know until you're actually like under contract, but it's good to still engage the title company and let them know everything step by step, just so that everyone's on the same page. But at least you have a title company lined up, so whenever you do put this thing under contract, you can just go to them and say, hey, here it is, and as soon as you can, please let me know what you require for any reports or anything like that for this property. So have them ready, a title company. And yeah, for sure, Natalie says thank you. Of course, this is why we're doing it, guys. We're here to add value to you guys, to make sure that you guys are equipped with everything that you need going forward. Because I've had people ask me, my LOI got accepted. That's where the name came from. What do I do now? Right. And we were the same way when we first started, to be completely honest. We signed an LOI, and we're working a little bit backwards, right? We made that mistake. Obviously, everything turned out fine, but we definitely wanted to. We know better now. Let's just put it that way. So the last thing I would say on the list that you also need to do is, I mentioned that you're engaging an attorney at the beginning for the contract itself. And the next one you should engage is another attorney, the SEC attorney, right? Especially if you're going to be raising capital for the deal. You need to know who you can talk to in order for you to get that process going. And a professional, like an SEC attorney, someone who either you have been recommended to, or you're, just doing your own due diligence and figuring out who the best one is. Whatever it is, you want to make sure that you have that person lined up as well. They're going to help you out whenever it comes time, and they're going to consult you on what you can and cannot do. And so, again, just let me get that banner, because uh, Rob is really good at telling me about the banner. But again, we're not we're not attorneys or CPAs. Definitely consult your attorney. Um, but that's one of the things I would say is line up your SEC attorney ASAP. I mean, you've got all these people that you need to be lining up, because as soon as you guys get that negotiations for the PSA going, and then once it's done, then everything kicks in. Everything starts to fall into place, and you need to be able to get it done. One of the last things I'll leave you guys with is the to know what it's going to take for the EMD. And this is something that I forgot to mention, but if you're negotiating a PSA and typically it's in the LOI, you need to know how much you're going to be depositing as part of EMD. If you don't have that number figured out, you should. You definitely need to know, because as soon as you guys put this thing under contract, you're going to have to deposit the EMD ASAP. I mean, it can be anywhere between 3 to 5 days or more, depending on how you guys negotiate the contract. It just varies, but you need to be prepared. So this will be the time for either you finding how you're going to take care of that, or just being proactive on making sure that part is also taken care of. Universal strategies. Thank you. Thank you. Violet, happy Tuesday. Thank you for being here. Rob, as always, man. Thanks, brother. So let me do a quick recap on everything that I talked about today. And guys, this is recorded, right? So if you missed it, or if you tuned in a little late, I'm sorry, if you tuned in a little late, then you can go to our YouTube channel and check it out. I'll put the link right here so you guys can see it for later. Recap. So the title is My LOI Was Accepted. Now what? You are in this period engaging the following parties: the attorney for the PSA negotiations. Second, property management companies. Third, any vendors for your third-party inspections. And those third-party inspections can be the appraisal, the survey, property condition report, phase 1 environmental. I'll repeat that one more time: appraisal, survey, property condition report, phase 1 environmental. The next party is the title company. Should have some sort of communication with them if you're going to be picking them, especially if you're going to be picking them. And then the lender and the SEC attorney. So that was six things that I recommend you should be engaging or having communication with during this time. And again, if your LOI is accepted, the next step is to go under contract, the purchase and sale agreement, or PSA. So it could be a gap between, I don't know, a couple of days or maybe a couple of months, depending on your negotiations. Or it could be, well, like I mentioned, it can be a couple of days, it could be months. So during that time period is the best time to go ahead and start doing all this stuff ahead of time, so you're not doing it while you're under contract and you're on the clock, right? This will give you a head start. You're still going to do it during the contract period, during your inspection or due diligence, but at least you will be proactive, and it'll just go a lot smoother once you're in it. So guys, if you have any questions, let me know in the chat. I'll take about 2 to 3 minutes on questions, but I think this will help out a lot of you guys because again, I've been reached out to someone reached out to me before and they told me if they had an LOI and it got accepted, right? They didn't know what to do. And so it was the same for us too when we first started. And now that we know a little bit more, um, we want to share back to you. We want to share it to you guys so you guys are well equipped for what's yet to come. And this is kind of my role in the team is I take all the coordination of the due diligence and closing, and this is what I do. So this is right up my alley. I don't know how I fell into this role, but I like it, and I just the coordination part of it. I don't know what it is, but if you guys have any questions, let me know, and if not, we can call it here. But I hope that helped. And if you guys have any feedback, let me know if this was of value to you in the chat. Like, did it help you guys out? And another thing I wanted to ask is, do you guys want to see more of these topics in the future? And if so, what type of topics do you guys want to talk about so we can get on here and serve you guys to the highest level so that you guys can get the information that you're actually looking for? While you guys do that, I'm going to say, if you guys aren't part of our Facebook group, join our Facebook group. It's the multifamily, the $1 million upside. And we announce everything there that we're doing, all of our lives, all of our Q&As, all of our Zooms, everything that you can think of. That's where we post everything so you guys can stay up to date. And also, guys, we have a very special Friday Zoom this Friday at 12 p.m. CST. And it's going to be about underwriting. It's going to be in our series that we've been doing, the acquisition to closing. So this is going to be part 3. And you guys, the first one was deal sourcing. The second one was market analysis 101. And this is going to be underwriting. So it's going to tie right into what we went over last week, but it's also going to be one of the, we're just super excited. You'll see, guys, when you see it this Friday, it's going to be amazing. You'll be mind blown for sure. Perfect. So I don't have any questions. And if you guys got any value, please shout us out on Instagram. My handle is right there. It's at Oscar Jimenez 10x. Shout us out and let us know that you guys have gotten some value from this. And also, again, if you haven't joined the Facebook group, join us there because we're going to announce everything there, including the Zooms that we do. And other than that, guys, great question. Real Estate says, where can we see parts 1 and 2? We're going to announce it in the Facebook group. So if you're part of the Facebook group, we'll put them there for you guys to be able to rewatch the recorded Zooms that we've done. And again, that is not the YouTube channel. That is the Facebook group, the $1 Million Upside. So if you're in that group, then you'll see it soon. Perfect. Awesome. Well, I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. I hope that helped. And we'll catch you guys next time. See you guys.